Welcome to NTD News. I'm Tiffany Meyer. Here are today's top stories. London police shot a terrorist dead after knife attack on London Bridge. 2 people died from knife wounds as about 300 people fled the area. The attack took place near the scene of an earlier terrorist knife attack. Police end the siege of Hong Kong University. The campus now damaged from weeks of clashes between pro-democracy protesters and police. New protests planned for the coming weekend. The Chinese regime has pressured theaters around the world not to let an international touring dance company perform. A Danish politician compares Communist China's methods to Nazi Germany. 2 young Guinean migrants attempted to cross into the Spanish enclave of Melilla by hiding inside a heavily modified car. The young man and women were found in impossibly small spaces, including under the car's dashboard. And car manufacturers brought out their latest and greatest 2020 vehicles for the San Francisco International Auto Show. The show has gone on for over 6 decades. A total of 33 manufacturers displayed 600 trucks, SUVs, and sedans. A man was shot dead after several people were stabbed in central London this afternoon. It was later confirmed that 2 injured victims also lost their lives. That's according to London police, who have declared the stabbing a terrorist attack. Jane Worrell reports from London.
2 people were killed and a man believed to be wearing a fake suicide vest was shot dead by police earlier this afternoon in central London. The details of the stabbing are still emerging. Earlier, the Prime Minister said that the country will not cow to such attacks.
This country will never be cowed or divided or intimidated by this sort of attack, and our values, our British values, will prevail.
An eyewitness told local media that about 300 people in the area ran away from the attack. This social media video shows the moment the suspect was wrestled down by civilians on the scene.
He has a knife.
Gunshots followed. In response, the Mayor of London praised the bystanders and police for their bravery.
I want to thank our brave emergency services who responded to today's horrific attack. Every day, they put their lives on the line for us, running towards danger in order to keep us safe. I would also like to thank members of the public who risked their own safety this afternoon. They are the best of us. Terrorism is cowardly and evil.
The UK's counter-terrorism chief gave an update on the attack earlier today, confirming it is being treated as a terrorist incident.
As you would expect, due to the nature of the incident, we responded as though this was terrorist-related. I'm now in a position to confirm that it has been declared a terrorist incident.
The Friday attack happened nearby the scene of another knife attack in 2017, where 8 people were killed. Police say they will be increasing patrols in the city and across London. Jane Worrell, NTD News, London.
And the White House says President Trump has been briefed on the attack at London Bridge and is monitoring the situation. In a statement, Washington said the United States strongly condemns all horrific acts of violence on innocent people. They pledged their full support to the UK. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg announced at a press conference today that more European allies in NATO are set to meet a defense spending target sought by the U.S. this year. He said the allies have made unprecedented progress.
President Trump is right about the importance of European allies and Canada spending more, and he has conveyed that message very clearly to allies several times.
9 NATO countries will now meet or exceed the NATO target of spending 2% of national output on defense by the end of this year. Those countries include the US, Bulgaria, Britain, Greece, Romania, Poland, Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. Turkey and France are expected to spend just below the goal, leaving only Belgium, Spain, and Luxembourg still spending less than 1% of economic output on defense. In comparison, only 7 NATO countries met spending targets last year.
I can announce that the accumulated increase in defense spending by the end of 2024 will be $400 billion. This is unprecedented progress.
At a NATO summit in Wales in 2014, allies agreed to end years of defense cuts that left Europeans without vital capabilities, such as refueling airborne fighter bombers. Despite pressure on member countries by previous Presidents Obama and Bush, Trump was able to get NATO to take U.S. spending concerns more seriously. President Trump is scheduled to attend the two-day NATO summit in London next week.
The frenzy of Black Friday shopping was missing this year as U.S. retailers offered earlier discounts and more consumers shopped online. But spot checks around the country showed traffic picked up later in the afternoon after a sluggish morning.
I find actually a really good deal for the Apple AirPods.
You got a lot of $100 less, $50 less.
I saw the laptop I looked at it, you got cost almost $800. You got it for $449.
Black Friday remains important for holiday shopping, but its relevance is fading amid early promotions. This year, there are 6 fewer sales days between Thanksgiving and Christmas. The shorter calendar has pulled spending forward. More than half of consumers polled by the National Retail Federation had begun making purchases in the first week of November.
Black Friday is off to a terrific start this year. We are well on track to do over $7.5 billion in commerce on Black Friday today. It's almost 20% increase year over year.
In-store visits showed more shoppers after a sluggish start Friday, but frantic crowds were nowhere to be seen.
Well, we're still seeing a lot of buy online, pick up in store activity where someone will make the purchase on their computer, come into the store to pick it up. And the great thing there is about 82% of customers who do that also purchase something else when they come into the store.
According to cloud-based software company Salesforce, U.S. online sales on Thanksgiving Day jumped 17% to $4.1 billion, while global online revenue rose ever faster. Adobe's Vice President of Commerce, Jason Woosley, named Frozen 2 toys, games like Just Dance 2020, and electronics like Samsung TVs as some of this year's best-selling items.
Well, you have the toys, of course, right? Anything to do with Frozen 2 is doing terrific. You've got Dance Dance 2020, which is a great little, dance routine that kids are playing with. LOL surprise toys. They did well last year, and they're back again this year. And then, of course, on the electronics side, we have Samsung TVs, Instapots. So lots of good merchandise doing a really good volume.
Hong Kong police on Friday withdrew from the wreckage of a university campus damaged in weeks of clashes as pro-democracy activists canvassed social media for support for more rallies at the weekend.
Hong Kong police on Friday wrapped up their search at the Polytechnic University after a nearly 2-week violent standoff with protesters. Senior faculty members of Hong Kong Polytechnic University toured the campus after police left, visiting the canteen and sports hall and inspecting damaged classrooms. Tung Jingguang, the president of PolyU, said the government should pay for the major part of repairs to the campus.
Because the damage is very severe, and I think the amount of money required to repair our campus will not be small, and I think the major part should come from the government.
According to Tung, it will take an estimated 5 to 6 months to repair all the damages. Hundreds of police officers had earlier entered the campus to collect evidence after blocking public access for 12 days to try to arrest protesters holed up inside. It was unclear whether any protesters remained, but some residents worry about their safety.
I just know they don't have enough food and not enough the facility. They heard from the police. I feel very sad. I cry always. I'm always crying.
Meanwhile, activists are trying to keep up momentum after this week winning backing from President Trump, who signed 2 bills to support the protesters despite warnings from Beijing. Other demonstrations planned for the weekend include a rally by secondary school students and a march to protest against the use of police tear gas near children. Paul Graney, NTD News, Hong Kong.
A crowd gathered outside the British Consulate General in Hong Kong's Central District this evening in support of a former British consulate employee in Hong Kong who says he was detained and tortured by Chinese police.
A few hundred protesters, some carrying Union Jack flags, chanting, "We are all Simon," referring to a former consulate employee, Simon Chung, who said Chinese secret police beat him and deprived him of sleep to try to get information about activists leading the months-long protests. Chung is a Hong Kong citizen who worked for the British government for almost 2 years. Alex Chan, one of the leaders at Friday's protest, said the UK should take more initiative to protect British nationals overseas.
In the Simon Chan interview, he also mentioned there are some Hong Kongers being detained maybe because of the political reasons. So this is clearly a breach of Sino-British Joint Declaration. So that's why we are here to ask the UK government to intervene and to save the Hong Kongers from the CCP.
Protesters are also urging London to extend citizenship to Hong Kong residents born before the 1997 handover to China and classified as overseas British nationals.
The Spanish Civil Guard has discovered 2 young West African migrants cramped in makeshift hiding places inside a car, including under the dashboard. The teenagers were attempting to enter the Spanish enclave of Melilla. Police video from October shows a young man and woman, both aged 19, extracting themselves from cramped spaces in a heavily modified car. The woman was hidden in the boot of the car over the back car wing, while the man was found at the front of the vehicle behind the dashboard. After the migrants were removed from their crawl spaces, they were treated for dehydration and numbness, a side effect of their cramped conditions. Both of them have now been taken to a migrant processing camp. The driver of the car and another passenger have been arrested on charges of human trafficking. They were both Moroccan. Up next, the Chinese regime has pressured theaters around the world to not let an internationally touring dance company perform. A Danish politician compares communist China's methods to Nazi Germany. Learn more about how Beijing got a theater to comply with their censorship when we return.
Absolutely the #1 show on the planet.
I love it.
Breathtaking.
Incredible.
Awesome.
Very exciting.
Mesmerizing. Really enjoyed it.
It makes you feel alive.
Absolutely flawless.
I laughed, I cried, colorful and vibrant and joyous.
The dancers, you guys are amazing.
They can just fly. Gravity does not apply to them.
Oh my gosh, I was so intrigued by this.
I'd get lost in the music and I'd get lost in what I'm seeing on stage.
It's a very eye-opening experience.
We came for her birthday.
Great experience, well worth it.
Even though it's been going for about 10 years, every year it's a completely different show.
I know this sold out very, very quickly, and I can see why now.
I think I've not seen something like this ever before.
I would recommend it to everybody.
I recommend it to everyone.
Our investigative reporters at the Epoch Times have spent 18 months uncovering the biggest political scandal in modern history. We connected the dots around Spygate, the actions by Obama-era officials against Trump's 2016 presidential campaign. Join me on Declassified as we bring you up-to-date developments on this unfolding scandal.
Despite its positive ticket sales, a traditional Chinese dance group has had its show canceled multiple times over the years. Some say that pressure comes from the Chinese Communist regime. As they prepare to begin their 2020 world tour, we talked with a member of the company about what it takes to counter China's long arm of censorship and fight for freedom of expression. With no advance notice right before the show was to begin in the Eastern European country of Moldova, May 23, 2010, Shenyue dancers got locked out by the theater manager.
They didn't want to talk to us, wouldn't let us in. She said, no, I'm under orders that this performance is canceled, and we're just stuck there.
Every once in a while,
the classical Chinese dance show depicts historical stories. They also reveal religious persecution that the Chinese Communist Party has been hiding for more than 20 years. Lemish later learned that the former Soviet Union member state was promised a $1 billion loan by China.
And, it's easy to connect the dots.
The hosting organization of the performance later sued the theater for contract violation. But at that moment, the dancers could do nothing other than silently protest outside, together with the audience.
We actually were on the front steps of the theater, facing this big square that was in front of it in the center of town and welcoming the audience members as they came in. We were just standing there in our suits.
After the audience members learned there's no show,
and they were in tears. I mean, they would take pictures with us. They went to a flower market nearby and brought us flowers. And you can
some audience members took a 30-hour train from Moscow to see the performance. Yet the theater wouldn't refund the tickets and told the audience to go away. This is not the only time Shenyun was suddenly canceled by theaters under pressure from Beijing. In Denmark, internal emails revealing China's long arm of censorship were presented in parliament. One internal theater staff email said the embassy ended the meeting by asking if we had a dialogue with Shenyun and requested that we shouldn't allow them to rent our facilities. Investigative journalist Thomas Fott uncovered the email.
The Chinese embassy and delegation was actually pressuring the theater in not letting them book these facilities.
In Spain, the local Chinese ambassador admitted in a phone conversation that has been recorded that he was personally involved in pressuring the theater.
后来我也是亲自找他那个总经理，跟他谈，你这个事情呢，不能光想着这个经济账，要看这个政治。
After the Moldovan incident, the then vice president of the European Parliament wrote a letter to Moldova's government, saying that he regrets that they gave in to pressure from the Chinese embassy. He hopes that Europe and the rest of the world can match the courage of the Shenyun performers and tell the Chinese regime that they will not accept its gross and repeated violation of human rights and dignity. Lemmer said Moldova trusted the Chinese regime too much.
So they promised them this money, then Shenyun comes to perform, then they cancel the performances, but guess what? They actually never got the money.
The incident was widely covered by local media.
So inspiring.
Despite the challenges, Shenyun has grown from one touring company to 7 over the last decade. But accusations of China's interference in the art and publishing world never stopped expanding, Hollywood catering to Chinese censors. Dissidents book contracts canceled for fear of upsetting the regime. And major U.S. news outlets cutting stories because they may anger the Communist Party.
There is no distrust.
Soren Espersen, member of the Danish Parliament's Foreign Policy Committee, compared today's China with Nazi Germany in its foreign relations. He noted that Germany at the time used trade interests to pressure the Danish Ministry of Foreign Affairs, asking them to silence critics of Nazism.
It is the same way that Communist China's embassy operates as was Germany's embassy in the 1930s.
He said despite its high artistic standard, Shenyun has been repeatedly rejected from performing in the Royal Danish Theatre.
Just note that in connection with Shenyun, there has been a lively dialogue between the theatre and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Well, what is that saying that we all know? There is nothing new under the sun.
Reporting by Penny Zhou, NTD News. Up next, car manufacturers brought out their latest and greatest 2020 vehicles for the San Francisco International Auto Show. The show has gone on for over 6 decades. A total of 33 manufacturers displayed 600 trucks, SUVs, and sedans. That and more when we return.
When you look at TV networks in America, a soundbite and fight-it-out culture prevails on news and commentary programs. As a Canadian, I'm fascinated with America, and I wanted to offer American thought leaders an opportunity to share their thoughts in a deep dive format, where we can explore their ideas together. And so American Thought Leaders was born. The world's most brilliant thinkers believed that open discourse was the key to greatness. However, all around the world, we see that discourse is being stifled and political agendas have subverted media. The Epoch Times launched its Global Thought Leaders program to bring back this great tradition of free thought. As the host of American Thought Leaders, every week I interview some of the most intriguing minds on the most pressing issues of our time. Be sure to check out our new episodes every week.
You're
Others have described China Uncensored like The Daily Show, but about China.
At the beginning, I was super excited when I got 500 views, and now the show's grown to about 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. One episode reached 7.9 million people. I'm a little freaked out that that many people have seen my face. In 5 years, I see China Uncensored as the sole source of edutainment worldwide.
An auto show in Northern California welcomes the public to view the latest from car manufacturers. NTD's Eileen Ng has more on the story in San Francisco.
It's the 62nd annual International Auto Show in San Francisco, where some of the world's leading car manufacturers showcase their latest 2020 cars, SUVs, vans, and trucks. There are 33 manufacturers and 600 vehicles on display at the Moscone Center.
You go on the internet. You pick 5 cars that you kind of like and you want this, that, and the other thing. Well, now you bring your family down here. Those vehicles are available here. You get in it. Does it actually fit your family's needs? Okay. Then you get it down to the 2 that you really like. You go to the dealership and you test drive them if it's not available here.
People can look forward to test drives on street level. Attractions include the classic car collection from the Academy of Art University, custom cars from the Auto Salon, and other luxury vehicle displays.
They're all displaying their newest products with all the new technology, all of the new connectivity, everything that is currently available on the market for now and for next year is available here.
The latest yellow Lamborghini Evo has 638 horsepower, and the wheels are improved for better intake while braking at corners at high speed.
This one has the bonnet in glass, so you can see the engine from the glass. Amazing car, 4 steering wheel is the car of the moment for us.
There's the brand new McLaren GT that came out this year. It's lightweight, 3,300 pounds, fast and comfortable.
This is probably one of the few Grand Touring cars that has a track mode in it, so you can still take it to the track and it's still going to perform very, very well as a sports car.
The back can fit a golf bag, and it is made of a super fabric material designed by NASA. This year, Lexus created a RCF Track Edition, the fastest in their lineup. Only 60 of them are created in the world.
There's a button in the center console of the vehicle, of the RCF Track Edition, that will control your traction and acceleration. So if you step on that brake pedal, you step on the accelerator, you press that button, that's what's going to get you from 0 to 60 in 3.96 seconds.
The Academy of Art University usually features its classic collections, but this year they displayed the first Mazda Miata, designed by a department head who used to work there. It's the car's 30th anniversary.
This being the first generation. Behind this, the red one, is the latest one available in the marketplace. That's the fourth generation.
Others, like the Toyota Supra, made a comeback after 25 years since customers have been asking for it after the Fast and Furious film series came out.
We have our double bubble roof, which is on top. Feature number 1 of that, it's going to cut down on your coefficient of drag to make your vehicle more aerodynamic, and it also allows you to wear your helmet when you take your vehicle tracking.
There's also the latest Nissan Versa, an affordable sedan with the latest safety features.
Automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection, high beam assist. On the sides, you have features like blind spot monitoring, lane intervention. On the back, you have for your cross traffic alert, backup camera. And these are features you could get for a car that's under $19,000.
Admission is $10 for adults. Children 12 and under are free. The auto show will run through December 2nd. Eileen Ng, NTD News, California.
Up next, Disney's Frozen 2 excites Northern Europe's Sami people, whose culture the movie draws on. The film just had what was Disney's biggest ever animated opening weekend in the U.S. Find out what the indigenous Scandinavians are saying when we return. Disney's Frozen 2 is generating excitement among Scandinavia's indigenous Sami people, whose culture the movie features.
The sequel to Disney's smash hit Frozen is thrilling Northern Europe's Sami people, whose culture the movie draws inspiration from. The Sami are an indigenous minority living across Norway, Sweden, Finland and northern Russia.
We, in the Sami group, we worked really close with the filmmakers of Frozen 2 and visited them in Burbank in their studio. And we felt that they took this very seriously.
Norway inspired many elements of the first Frozen movie. The sequel takes inspiration from the Sami culture, including characters who live closely with reindeer. Herding reindeer is a traditional Sami activity. Disney signed a contract with Sami representatives to commit themselves to portray their culture respectfully. It included supporting the dubbing of the movie in North Sami, the most spoken of the Sami languages, and releasing it at the same time as the Norwegian version.
And now the sequel, Frozen 2, and the filmmakers behind that really acknowledge the fact that Sami and that we own our own culture and our stories, and they want to collaborate and do it in a respectful and sensitive way.
Frozen 2 debuted in US cinemas earlier this month and grossed $350 million on its debut weekend, making it the biggest ever open for Walt Disney Animation, according to Hollywood trade publication Variety.
That's all for today's news. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Tiffany Meyer.